Hello folks, welcome back. In this lecture, we are going to see how to deploy a WAR file on Tomcat server using Maven. I have already updated a document under revd Maven repository. You can go and have a look if you have any issue. And here if you see prerequisites Maven server and a Tomcat server, which is already up and running. Next thing, download Maven artifact web app archetype. We have already downloaded and we have named it as a second Maven project. Next thing, we need to update the pom.xml. So in the pom.xml, we need to provide the what is the Tomcat server. So here we need to replace with the local host with the Tomcat server, nothing but with this server IP address. And also path. After configuration, as a which application we would like to access. That is the path we need to specify. Like after this manager, okay, if I click on examples, here it is coming as a examples, right? Similar way, if we want to access our application, what are the changes we would like to do? Okay, that is what we need to do. Once that is done, we need to create a settings.xml. So this settings.xml we are going to create under .m2 directory of the root user, and we just update this one. Okay, these dots are not needed. So here we are going to update the ID is same, but username and password. In our case, username is admin, password also admin. Okay, if you remember, I just shown you, right? This is Tomcat server. Yep, here you can see username and password both are admin and admin. This configuration is updated, which means that we are ready to deploy web app application on Tomcat using our Maven. And here we should use the command called mvn tomcat7 and deploy. Okay, so far we haven't executed deploy goal. First time we are executing deploy goal because we have found out the remote repository or remote location where we can able to copy it. That is the reason we need to use. And the Tomcat 7 is, this is the one. Okay, we are using a plugin called Tomcat 7. With this we can deploy it on either Tomcat 7 or 8. Okay, in our case we are using Tomcat 8. All right, so let's update this configuration. I'm just copying this information, like just plugins I'm copying, and go back to our Maven server. So this first terminal is our Maven server, second terminal is Tomcat server, and even you can find the name over here, and go inside to second demo project and vi pom.xml, and this should be under plugins. You can see there is a tab called plugin. Under plugins we need to provide plugin. I have copied, and after copying, we need to update some of the information, that is the URL of our Tomcat server. So I'm just updating it over here. Let me grab the Tomcat server URL. So this is the URL. Okay, without port number 88 I'm copying because it is already there. Okay, I have taken no slash. Then here we need to give the hello world web app is there. In our case, as what URL we want to access. Let it be our project name, that is second Maven project. Okay, let it be with the same name. I would like to access this application and save the file. That's it. Now we have updated our pom.xml to deploy the application on Tomcat 7 server or 8 server. And this is the version we are using. If you see group ID, artifact ID and version. So this is the information we are using. Next thing, we need to create a servers.xml. So for that, we are under /root in our project. Go back to one directory up, and if I do ls-la, you can see .m2 directory is there. Go inside to .m2 directory and let's create settings.xml. Okay, settings.xml I am creating, and we need to copy the content which is there in our GitHub repository. So we just copy the content of this one. It is like a what is the server and what is the username and password. These credentials we want to set it up. So let me go to password. Password is admin, right, in our case. All right, so we have updated, and one more thing is here we don't need dots, sorry. All right, we have done all the settings. Now it's time to deploy our application on the Tomcat. For that, again I'm switching back to my second demo project. So even let me change the pom.xml according to this, because we have named it as a second Maven project. Let me remove it. All right, so we have saved this file, and let's run our Maven Tomcat 7. So we are going to use the plugin called Tomcat 7 and goal is deploy. Okay, so we are deploying. Let's see what happens. So we are doing deploy at the first time. So some packages or libraries are missing still in our local repository. It is just pulling those. Okay, once this is done, in this location, we could able to see second demo project. I think it's successful. Yep, build is successful. And you can see deploying the var file. It is deploying on this location. Okay, which means that in the target environment it will go to the web apps directory and copied it over here. Now let's go to browser and we should able to access our application. I'm going back. Okay, it is not picked up the our latest application. It will be show up over here. Let me refresh it. Yes, you can see here second demo project. Now if I click on this one, we could able to see the hello world. Hello world is the content which is there in our web app application. So if I go to my Maven server and if I do tree, you can see here we have a index.jsp, right? So if I open this file, so it is under src main and web app and index.jsp. So src main web app index.jsp. If you are getting confused with Linux commands, maybe it's time to go through with the Linux basics course. I have a separate course for Linux for DevOps engineers. Maybe you can go through with that. So if I open this file, you can see here hello world, same content is appearing over here. Let's do some changes to this code, and if we deploy it, it should be able to build the latest code and get it deployed into the Tomcat. That's what it should do, right? So let's edit this file for a quick test, and I'm going to change it as a, I will add one more line, that is h2 welcome to Maven deployment goal. Okay, so I'm just adding some content. Let's add, and if I do again Maven, so we need to do entire compilation, test, build, and deploy. Everything we need to do. MVN for all those purpose. Tomcat 7 colon deploy is fine. Why? Because deploy means that is the last goal which we have in the list of the default life cycle. So it take all the goals into the consideration and it's execute and build the application and deploy it. Okay, there is some problem. There is a typo in the command. So Tomcat 7 colon deploy. All right, so you can see all the goals has been executed over here and build is successful. It's saying that application is already exist in the target. Seems Maven is not that much intelligent to remove the target environment content and deploy the new one. So maybe what we can do, we are going to delete the content and re-execute the same thing. So here, if I do ls minus la, sorry, ls minus l, and it has been deployed 1306, sorry, 612, 629 date. If I see 6:33, it is not latest one. 4 minutes ago it has been deployed. Let me remove it. rm minus rf, and I'm just deleting it. Now you can see there is no second demo project. So now we are going to execute this once again. This time it should able to deploy it successfully. Yes, all right, it has been successfully deployed. And if I do again ls minus l, we could able to see the latest code. And if I go to browser and if I refresh, one more line should be there, which we have added. Yes, which means that our Maven can able to build the latest code and deploy it into the target system. Usually we are updating our code in the Maven, but it should be come through the Git. So whenever developers push their code onto the Git, from there we are going to pull into our Maven system and we do the build. But build, we don't do it directly on the Maven. We usually do it from the Jenkins. How to build our application from the Jenkins, we are going to see in the next section. Thanks for watching and see you there.